Good morning, good afternoon, or good night, and welcome to Command Power, the show in which we discuss all things Magic the Gathering with a focus on Commander. And today we have another episode in our Spoiler Spotlight series in which I talk about, well, spoilers and tell you what my thoughts are on them. But before that, just a quick reminder to click subscribe if you enjoy my videos. We're well on our way to 1 million subscribers and your support means everything to me. And today we're going to be talking about Demonic Junker. For 6 colorless and 1 black, it's an artifact vehicle for 3 with affinity for artifacts. This spell costs 1 less to cast for each artifact you control, and when this vehicle enters, for each player destroy up to 1 target creature that player controls. If a creature you controlled was destroyed this way, put 2 +1/+1 counters on this vehicle, and crew 2. So this is incredibly interesting for many different reasons. The first thing that drew my attention is it has affinity for artifacts. We don't really see that very often, and that means that this is going to be an instant staple in all sorts of commander decks, particularly ones that are running a bunch of artifacts. Now, black is not usually the color that does that the most, but there are some pretty strong commanders that want to be running artifacts that this just slides right into. Because in those decks, this is essentially a 3-for-1 kill spell for 1 mana that then sticks around and you can even crew later on. Obviously, you're going to want a lot of artifacts if you're running this in your deck, because getting this for 1 is the ideal scenario, but honestly, even if you're paying like 2 or 3 mana for this, it's still really good. Getting to kill 3 creatures with no restrictions when this enters is incredibly powerful, and we haven't even talked about the edge case of you wanting to kill your own thing. If you're in a deck where you have a bunch of death triggers or you really want your own creatures to hit the graveyard, then this has even more upside, because now you get to kill 1 of your things, kill 3 of your opponent's things, and put 2 +1/+1 counters on this, so it's actually a 6/5, which is quite a sizable creature at that point. So it's really got a lot of stuff going for it, and I think that even in an average deck that's running a normal amount of artifacts, this could potentially see play if you have enough synergies with what it's doing, because getting it down even for 4 or 5 mana is still pretty solid. We play stuff like Ravenous Chupacabra all the time, and that just kills 1 creature when it enters. This kills 3. Honestly, I just see this as a very good card even if you're not heavy on the affinity for artifacts theme. It's just a very solid effect when it enters the battlefield. Removal is at a premium, and having it on a vehicle that can then become quite sizable and swing in later in the game is just really good. Of course, if you have ways to blink this, it gets even better. Something like Teleportation Circle can blink artifacts, but the really cool thing is you can turn this into a creature and then blink it. And that's really not that difficult to do since it only has crew 2, and once you start blinking this, it's really insane, because getting to kill 3 creatures every time this enters becomes really unsustainable for your opponents, and they're going to have to deal with it. Something like Deadeye Navigator, for example, just works so nicely with this card, because you can just tap the Navigator to activate this, turning it into a creature, then blink it, killing 3 things, and supposing you have no other creatures around, which is pretty unlikely, you can just blink the Navigator itself, then tap it again to activate this again, and blink. Yes, it is very mana intensive, but let's be honest, you're usually going to have other creatures lying around to crew this anyway, so there's just so many ways to take advantage of this enter the battlefield ability, and honestly, I think this is a really good card that's definitely going to see a lot of play. So there you have it. Those have been my thoughts on this new spoiler. What do you think though? Do you disagree with me, or do you think I got it right? Let me know in the comment section below. I always make sure to read all of your comments. And if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to click like or subscribe. It really helps the channel, and until next time, take care.